think we're Are we watching TransWorld?
What's up? I'm Jaime Owens. Welcome to the first episode of the video show. We're here with Cairo Foster, the legend, and we're going to be talking about his Transworld video part from 1999, The Reason. He's rocking the shirt. Fresh crease out of the bag. I like it. Yeah, so tell me how you got involved with the Transworld video at this time. What was your video part before this?
It had to probably do with Ty, because with this part I filmed with Ty, and I filmed with Dan Wolf, and those were the main guys I was filming with. But before this was probably, there was Raw, which was a Thrasher video that Satva filmed a video part in, and then there's a Super Not Industry section. That was Ted Newsom, who used to work at TransWorld. That was he was doing that at the same time that he was working at TransWorld, and Mike Ballard and Paul Sharp. We did an industry section, then I did a 4-on-1 Wheels of Fortune. God, I swear it was in that Wheel of Fortune, it must have been one of the first times I ever really drank. I'm in the hallway, wasted, what up everybody? Yeah.
And so you're coming from 4-on-1 part straight into a Transworld part. That's awesome.
Which is funny because I remember Ty, fast forward years and years later, Ty and I being on a trip, filming for Fully Flared, and we had this heart-to-heart, and he's like, dude, you wasted so much time on 4-on-1s. And I was like, I don't know, I feel 4-on-1, there was a time when 4-on-1 was awesome, and I was I did a lot of stuff with Anthony Clairville, and I'm just I don't know, it allowed me to travel the world. And then I'm full circle, I'm got to film with Ty with that Lakai project, and I'm I got to film with Ty for The Reason, which to this day is it's that part that everyone's oh, I remember I seen you in The Reason, and I'm dude. And then you saying it's from 1999, I'm kind of tripping on that, because I'm so technically, it's 2018, technically some of these tricks in here could be 20 years old.
Yeah, that's so crazy, right? We're getting old, but...
We're not getting old. We're not getting old.
I know, we still feel...
You gotta scratch that out. We're not getting old.
I still feel like I'm 15, so...
Yeah.
You're right.
We're not getting old.
Yeah. Did you just get on Reel, or was that right before, or did you get on Reel during?
Yeah, I was on Reel, and I'm guessing maybe that's how it came about, Dan Wolf talking with Ty Evans. I literally cannot remember how it started, hey, you're gonna film a video part, but I know I was super jazzed on it.
Yeah.
Because before this was...
Feedback.
Oh yeah, and yeah. I felt I got the right, I got blessed with being in that right moment where it was it went Feedback, and then The Reason, and then Modus. And all the Transworld videos over the different decades have been fucking dope, but I feel I got blessed with I'm oh
yeah, right here.
Yes. So stoked. So yeah, I feel I can safely say this part got me into that track that ended up being my career. If I would have never done The Reason, I don't think, I don't know what would have happened, but
yeah, for sure.
The amount of people that come up, I'm damn.
They still talk about this to this day.
And everyone always asks me if I picked that song, and I'm
let's talk about that song, right?
Should we just right out the
gates? Okay. We'll talk about it. It's cue that song.
So I have a whole different belief on this, because I think a lot of people in skateboarding and people that watch skate videos, they think every skater picks the songs. I have never picked any song for any video part except my Oververt song.
That's heavy.
So I picked that one because I love Guided by Voices, but I love Modest Mouse, I love Built to Spill. And the cool thing about Ty, and this even went along with Fully Flared, is Ty is, he's a visionary. And my belief is oh, if you're the skater, you should work with the filmer that you think's gonna capture everything the way, or you're confident that they're gonna capture it right. And then Ty also has the vision to make a video a certain way. He's done so many different things. He's all over the spectrum on creating a video this way or that way, and I'm just like was always confident that he's gonna crush it on the music side. So he knew all the music I was listening to. Like we traveled a bunch, so he knew what I was listening to, and that worked out. Like,
so this was something you were listening to, but you didn't pick it.
Yeah,
you didn't
I wasn't like, we have to have this song. And then maybe Reel to Reel, I kind of picked the song, but I think Wolf knew what I was into as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have to be confident in the person that's creating, directing, producing the video, that they're gonna come up with the right songs. Like sometimes there's like cost restrictions, like songs cost a lot nowadays, so you're not gonna get those songs. Like lucked out back in the day, like I don't even know.
This was the Wild West.
Yeah, definitely Wild West. It was when it was on VHS, so you weren't tripping so hard on like music rights. It's way harder nowadays. But yeah, the song's awesome. I definitely do listen to Built to Spill. It's not like I'm like, I never picked this song. I had like this long talk with someone recently, which kind of goes back to like, people still talk about the reason. And they're like, you have to tell me, how did you come up with the song? I was like, I didn't.
Yeah.
Like I definitely listened to that entire album nonstop, but I didn't say, Ty, you cannot do this video part unless you use this song. I might have given him a list. Like there's a good chance, because I know with Fully Flared, I gave him like a list of like 20 songs, and there's a pretty good chance that I would have done this for this video part, but I wasn't like, it has to be this song.
You were still kind of young and kind of being like in the industry, right? Like as far as like working with these guys.
99, I'm pretty young then.
Pretty young. You're not trying to throw your weight around at this moment, you know, you're trying to like work with the guys and go with it.
Dude, Ty and Dan Wolf, I'm like, you guys, I'm like in a lucky spot.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, he could have put any music on and I'm good.
It's awesome because it's like it's somewhat of a mellow song, and sometimes it might be hard to come across with a gnarly, memorable part. There's kind of mellow song, and it does. Like it makes it a timeless video part, I feel like. So let's jump into it.
Yeah.
Let's kick these tunes, because these tunes get me stoked every time it starts off.
Like most people, they have like gouges right there. And
Talk about that Black Magic shirt.
I've been through a lot of sponsors. I feel like people don't think I've been through a lot of sponsors, but I'm like, whoa, I've had a lot of sponsors over the years. Black Magic, audio.
I don't know, but
Were you breaking boards nonstop? Or is it just like a few and they exaggerated it?
No, I was breaking a lot of boards. I had like some people that were just like, you just need to land on the bolts. I'm
just
like,
land on
fair.
bolts, dude.
And I've like definitely like turned that around on people. They're like, my board fucking broke. I'm like, you didn't land on the bolts, dude.
I'm gonna use it back at you.
This is
that's classic TransWorld video right there.
and that was when Third and Army was like skatable.
All right, talk about nollie flipping and nollie heeling.
This was probably after I was accepted at skating at Pier 7, no longer called Nollie Hard. Because when I first moved out to the Bay, oh my gosh. I remember at one point when I first moved out to SF, I linked up with this guy, Daryl Grogan. Have you ever heard of Daryl Grogan? He filmed, on like 16 millimeter, he filmed 2 movies called Duck Cinema. And so I remember being in the Bay, and I did so many nollie hard flips one day, and it was like along that strip of the piers. Like I did one like. I did a bunch, and I probably did a bunch before that. And I remember like Nick Lockman, Henry Sanchez, and I don't know, a handful of others would just be like, "What's up, Nollie Hard?" I'm like, "Fuck!" Like,
yeah, you're like, "Oh man."
I mean, we talked about it earlier. Like skaters always preach like, "Oh, we're all united through skateboarding." I'm like, this is literally an extension of middle and high school.
Yep.
We're like, so but at the same time, it was dope because it's when you go to a new town, city, whatever, or you have a new crew of people, it's like you need to earn your stripes. So I think at a certain point, or I feel confident that at a certain point I just like was around, and I don't know, it was just like.
Well, when you're doing tricks like that, they gotta be like, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding about the nollie hard thing.
Like, I suck at manuals.
And so you just skip the manual pad and go right over.
I think that's like my theory with a lot of things, like I've had conversations with people like, why do you like gapping out to rails? I'm like, well, I hate hanging out on handrails, so it's like way easier just to jump out
and be way better.
And get on the rail, and like if you're jumping out, you're going fast enough that like you typically will miss sacking it. So you might slam pretty hard, but it's going to distribute all that splatter as opposed to just like stacking.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I never really did manuals on there.
That's crazy. So you just flipped over it, man. That's so crazy. Taking out the clipper right out the gates.
It's weird. I'm not even like skating the hub.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that spot was awesome. I remember
switch front board.
The switch front board. Yeah, the switch front board. That rail was dope. I had a Spitfire I had doing a backsmith, and then I remember seeing like Carol also had a backsmith on it. I think it was in video. Funny thing, Transworld related. My checkout that Mike Ballard shot in Transworld, I'm doing a front crook at, I forgot the name of the ledge, but Mike Carroll had a cover doing a front crook. It was a step-up ledge.
Oh yeah, the one.
Same one. And I feel like Mike and I, like there's like a few things in the bay, I was like, oh shit, fuck, I didn't know you did that, or like vice versa or whatever. I was like, but yeah, that rail was really dope. It was in Marin, Gabe Morford. I mean, I'm sure Gabe was like integral to making this happen too, just like.
For sure. Did Carol ever say anything about the front crook checkout? Like
no.
Years later, he probably never remembered.
Dude, I probably was not on his radar at all till like we became homies and stuff. Like, who's this Mark doing a front crook on my ledge?
Yeah.
Oh man, this line took me forever. That's why I smile at the end. And I used to go here all the time because Pier 7 wasn't my shit. And I always liked that you could skate the ledge up top. But yeah, that's why I smile so much after the tray flip, because I feel like we tried that line for like probably a couple hours. Okay. Philly.
And this is a transition from audio days to Lakai, right?
Oh yeah, audio right there.
Oh yeah, tell me about that. So the board slide is your first Lakai ad?
No, I think I had a it was either a no slide or a crooked grind on it. Because like the first couple of Lakai ads were Mike and Rick looking at the shoes. I'm not sure if I had the first skate ad, but it was
early on.
And then it's funny because in this clip, I'm like doing the board slide. To get into that school, you had to hop over the craziest fence because it was just like you can see in the background, it's like, there's no way to really get in. So you hop over the whole school onto the roof, drop in, and we're like, fuck, if the cops come, we're screwed.
Trapped. Yeah, you're trapped.
But I'd always look in and see that hub, and I'm like, oh my God, that hub is amazing. Yeah. But now I'm like thinking of audio. Like I rode for audio for 8 months, and I remember getting a call from Carol, and he's like, hey, would you be interested in writing for this company that Rick and I are starting? I'm like, yeah, that sounds awesome. We talked for like 15 minutes, and I was totally down. Called Jeff Taylor that day or that week and was just like, hey man, I gotta quit. So I never ended up having an audio ad in those 8 months, which worked out in a way probably better, you know, like.
But they got so much mileage out of this video part with all the shirts you're running.
It's true, like I used to rock the hell out of shirts. Any of my sponsors, like, I'm just thinking like that transition. I remember like a month or maybe almost a month later, I called Carol and I'm like, yo, I never asked, but what's the name of the company that I'm quitting for? He's like, oh yeah, it's Lakai. I was like, cool. Like it could have been whatever in the world. I would have still told Jeff like, hey, sorry Jeff, like thank you so much for everything you've done for me. Like I got to go on this awesome tour to the East Coast, all the homies on there, they all ripped. But I was like, dude, like growing up, I never said I looked up to anyone where I was like, I don't have a favorite skater, but if I was going to ever allude to having a favorite skater, it was Rick Howard and then Mike Carroll.
Yeah.
So Rick Howard from Plan B and from Blockhead, I'm just like, okay, yeah, Mike, yep. Oh yeah. We're done with audio. So like, yeah. I definitely rocked some audio shirts in this video, but like I was,
short-lived.
It was short-lived. Am I gonna talk a ton?
That's okay. We'll chop it.
Oh man. Wow, NASCAR stickers job on that board. So bad.
There's the nollie hard, flushing.
Debatable. Some people will call it nollie shove it. They'll call it illusion flip. I did have Carol approach me once and say, he's like, whatever it is, it's like you pop it high. And I was like, And he was like, it looks legit. I'm like,
Whatever
cool.
it is amazing.
I'm like, I'm stoked.
You said something about your switch frontside flips not flipping properly either, but they flip good. They flip
It
good.
depends, hit or
Yeah.
miss. Like, wow, another audio shirt.
I know, see, that's what I'm saying.
A lot of these audio shirts.
In this video part.
Dang. I feel like that was like Jimmy Thomas's shoe.
Oh yeah.
I was super
good.
stoked that I did that nose blunt. I had never done a backside nose blunt to fakie.
That was-
And we were trying it for a while, and I think it was probably Wolf's idea. He's like, why don't you pop out to fakie? And it worked out, and I'm like, is that the only? No, I've done another backside nose blunt to fakie. They're usually out to forward.
Yeah. That's
But,
a raw street clip.
Yeah, I was
trick or
stoked
whatever.
because
So
it's,
awesome.
and kind of going back to those first tricks, like, I never imagined me getting clips at Pier 7.
Yeah.
Because Pier 7 is like the tech dogs, like Welsh. I mean, Marcus was a beast.
Oh yeah.
Is a beast.
It is beast.
Like, so, yeah. Gosh. The craziest nose grind. I don't even know how I survived that one.
Round rail nose grind. Greg Hunt down there shooting film.
Oh, yeah.
Here it is. Here's the boy. Is this when you guys became friends? Like, is this around the time when you guys met and were like...
I think we just like linked up at between Union Square and Wallenberg, so we would just kick it. And a lot of people used to think that I was roommates with him, but we never lived together. He lived downtown. Like we had a Slap article with Sean Connolly, and it was Kenny and I, and like we were just the homies, and it was just awesome to skate with him. And he's got fucking sick of style.
What do you think about that board slide right there on the hubba when you had the board slide on the big hubba earlier when we were talking about you getting on Lakai? There's another board slide. This is gap to board slide?
That one's a gap out. That one's a gap out.
It's a gap to
and yeah. Like I don't even know if anyone had skated that beforehand. Dude, I had to call Mickey Reyes up. I either texted him or called him up when Don Vanderlyn did the gap to back nose blunt.
Oh, fuck.
That was psycho.
That was fucking insane.
Like when I saw that was like the beginning, I feel like the beginning of him really just opening eyes.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, shit got real. Yeah, that's
Yeah, this hubs. Fat nose slide.
Damn, should we go skate outside today?
I know, like this makes you reminiscent.
LA clip.
LA.
Very random for me to get an LA clip.
Keenan Milton, switch backside flip,
Yeah.
switch backside heel over that.
Can you still say chin chin grind? Was that chin chin grind?
I think so. That's what we used to call it on the mini ramps and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Oh my gosh. Audio shirt, wow.
big, big fat nollie.
Do you think Jeff Taylor can lace me up?
You should
With
get
like some photo incentive, video incentive?
Yeah, all right, right there.
Oh
Look
my
at
gosh.
this. Talk about these two tricks right here. The 360 flip and the switch frontside flip.
So see, it doesn't flip as much as down the double set, but
But it goes.
to me there are three tricks there. There's the tray flip and the switch frontside flip, but the hardest thing at those two
Switch
sessions was
ollie
the
up.
switch ollie up.
I bet, right? Up the
I
block.
slammed so hard so many times, going as fast as I could, hanging up and almost sliding to the end, just like,
Yeah, just.
it was just trying to figure out how to get up to it.
Yeah, and like your whole mind
Going
is
as
like
fast.
thinking about that trick the whole
Like,
time.
I'm just
you can't
thinking
even,
about, like-
you can't even get to the actual
I'm like,
trick.
you
right?
just need to
That's it.
get up with enough speed to clear it. So you need a haul ass, pushing Mongo, of course, guys. Switch Mongo. It's all good.
That's
Hate
me.
on me on the
That's me.
message boards, but I was switch Mongo pushing my ass off to switch ollie up that.
How long was this video part filmed in? Like, what was that time frame? I know they were short.
Don't know.
6 months? A year?
Less than a year,
Less than a year for sure. Right?
longer than a month.
Somewhere in between that time frame.
Yeah, I don't actually know how long it took us.
What
But
should-
every time I hear the song, like I went to see Built Spill
Oh my God, yeah.
earlier this year, and I'm just like, I went with Nikhil Thayer, and he's like, I'm just here
To hear your
basically to
song.
hear,
Your
to
song.
see your face when that song comes on. We were just joking. I mean, he wasn't serious.
And you
but
just,
it's like,
you stand at the back of the venue and then the song comes on and you go,
I was like, Doug,
that's me.
That's me.
That's my shit.
I mean, that's your song, but that's me.
That's my shit. You deboed it. You took that song and made it, it's both yours, but you go keep it at your house.
No, I mean, whenever I see this or I hear the song, I'm just like, fuck, I lucked out.
Yeah.
The reason was like, I don't know. It was a breakout part.
Yeah. Yeah, the memories that it's bringing back, like watching it now, this is like we were saying 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Like I've definitely, not to say I didn't try my hardest to film this part, but I feel like I've tried harder to film other parts. And I think when you're just in a certain state of mind, you're just like out there skating.
Yeah, this looks like you were in the zone, in
and
SF,
so like, it
just going
all
off.
lined up. And I was like new to San Francisco, new-ish still to San Francisco. Actually, no, I'm like, well, I lived there for almost 20 years, so
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Everything just like lined up.
It's awesome.
So, yeah.
And it's a timeless classic video part, that song. You're skating.
The song's awesome.
Editing, everything.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you,
everyone
sir.
that made this happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like most people, they have like gouges right there, and there should be blood coming out, but I just have gouges from, I think it's because I put so many boards together from them breaking. So those are just rough marks from grip tape, and then I get dirt on me because I fall all the time.
How many boards have you broken, Cairo?
I don't know, but it fucking...
It's another broken board.